Out of college, what did you feel your distance was? Were you still thinking mile, maybe 5,000? What were you thinking out of college?
Yeah, so after my first couple of years of really struggling and getting last place, honestly, I got last place in so many races, it's not even funny. Like, I used to wear this shirt around that said, "I can do all things" on the front, and then on the back said, "Through Christ who strengthens me." And I'll never forget cooling down wearing this shirt, and I just got in last place in this 800-meter race, and it was a string of a whole bunch of last place finishes. And this guy's like, he's like, "Don't worry, man, you'll be all right if you believe what's on your shirt." And I was like, it just really like hit my heart. I was like, do I really believe what's on my shirt, you know? And it kind of, it's like, that's where like my faith had to really kind of come into what I was doing, you know? Right. And it was my faith that kind of pulled me through those tough times, and also my faith that allowed me to not be so hard pressed about the mile, you know, to like not be so prideful about it and be like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make myself do this, even if it's not how I'm gifted, what I'm gifted to do. And so that's something I've really learned, is just to open up my mind and be like, I'll do whatever God's made me to do. And so I think that's something we can all learn from, just do what you're made to do and what you're passionate to do. And I'm so glad that I was open-minded enough to move to the 5K, and then in 2006, after my first year professionally, to move on to the marathon and get ready for the Olympics in 2008.
Well, and then you talk about your faith, and you talk about going through tough times. I mean, there was a point in college where you left school. You went back to Big Bear and weren't quite sure what was going to happen.
Yeah, my sophomore year in college, I left school for winter quarter, went back to Big Bear, and was just kind of really depressed, honestly, because I'd kind of built my world on my running, and it was crashing. You know, like I said, I was getting last place and just really struggling, and so I wasn't happy at all, you know, and so I had to go home and kind of get my identity back in order, that had to see myself as God's child first, who also ran, rather than a runner who happened to be God's child. You know, it's kind of getting my identity in order was really huge for me, and really was a huge shift in my career, and allowed me to really enjoy it more, and to be able to just go out there and enjoy the gift and let it go, you know, and right. It's really blossomed since I've been able to do that.
And when you went from the 5K and all of a sudden you jump in the Houston Marathon and, you know, break the American record, 59:43, and faster than anybody's ever run, and it's your basically your first time out of the box. One, was it who saw in you to make that jump to half marathon? Was that Trevor?
Oh, my coach, Terrence. No, you know what? It kind of came from me. You know, like I was in Europe in 2006, after my first year being a professional runner, and I was watching race. I was in the race, but I was watching the race finish on the jumbotron. That's how far behind I was, because I'm racing guys like Bekele and Gabriel Selassie and these guys who are the best runners in the world, and they just do crazy stuff. They go out in 4 minutes for the first mile, they settle for a couple laps, and then they hit it again, and they close in 52 seconds and run their last mile in sub 4 minutes. And it's like, it's not in the cards for me. I don't know, maybe one of you guys out there can handle that, but I certainly can't. And so that's when I was like, all right, I need to take a good look at what, you know, I'm old enough now. I know what my speed's like. I know what my natural ability is, and so I kind of need to take a step back and figure out what I'd be most competitive in, because like I said, from the time I started running, I always believed I could run with the best guys in the world, right. And I wasn't seeing that at all. And so now I'm as close to those guys in the marathon as I was in the 5K, so I'm definitely heading in the right direction now.
And I mean, you break the American record for the half marathon. What was the response? I mean, for you, obviously, you said you expected to run with the best guys in the world. So while I'm sure it was a little bit of a surprise, you probably weren't as surprised as everybody else was. Well, how did that change the perception of Ryan Hall out in the regular world?
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there, because like I always knew it was possible, and it was fun to finally get there. You know, like, I don't know if you guys saw the finish, but I was really excited because I finally arrived. You know, like I talked about all those hard times I went through, and then when you actually get there, I'm sure all you guys can relate to that. You know, when you've been on a rocky road and then you finally hit that magical day, it's amazing, you know. And so I definitely soaked that in, and it was a good experience. And I think it did kind of change the perception of everyone else. You know, like myself, my dad, Sarah, a lot of people who have believed in me all along the journey. It didn't change their beliefs, but it kind of changed the beliefs of everyone around me.
And then you go to London for your first ever marathon, and it's basically road racing Hall of Fame. You know, it's Gabriel Selassie. It's like everybody who's there, and you're dropped a little early. But then usually when you're watching a marathon on TV, when people get dropped, they don't come back. But you bridged back up, which probably surprised the heck out of those guys.
Yeah, it was a really intimidating first marathon to be in because they're talking about going out at world record pace. And like I said, it's Gabriel Selassie, Paul Turgot, Henrik Ramal, all these guys who've already won New York, Boston, Chicago, world record holder.
Yeah.
Like all these just amazing runners. And I'm running in the B group with the guy who won the Olympics, Baldini.
The B group.
The silver medalist, my teammate Meb, and the guy who just won New York. And so then we're in the B group. And so we get out a little bit slower. And then, you know, it was a warm day. They weren't running quite as quick as they said they were going to run. And we started catching up to them, going over Tower Bridge. And I'm not sure if you guys have run London Marathon before, but it's an amazing experience. The crowd there was just unreal. And my coach told me, he's like, don't start racing until you get to 20 miles. He's like, first 20 with your head, the last 6 with your heart. But my heart kind of got the best of me at right around 13 miles because I took off and caught back up. But I'll never forget it. It was the coolest experience, you know, here watching movies of Gabriel Selassie, seeing him compete in the Olympics, winning gold medals, and then catching back up to him. And I'll never forget catching them. And they're kind of looking around, and they kind of do this, like, double take because they see this white kid with them. And
where did he jump out of the
Yeah,
stands?
I think they thought I cut the course or something like that. So it was a lot of fun. And then, you know, at the end of the race, I didn't finish that far behind a lot of the guys like Paul Turgot, who was the world record holder at the time. And he comes up to me after the race with these big old eyes, and he's like, wow. He's like, that was so awesome. He's like, that was your first race. And he puts his hand on my head and just starts going like this and just talking to me. And I was like, I usually don't like that type of thing, but I was like, I'm cool with this. Whatever.
Whatever Paul Turgot wants to do.
Yeah, whatever he wants.
You want to run my head for luck, whatever you want to do, that's good stuff.
Yeah, so I got some Paul Turgot juju on my head if you guys want to come over and rub it afterwards.
It's great.